more people in your class were probably became Beatles fans than at any other time in history.
There was a purpose to that, and it was a big purpose. Today, if you look at media, just general overall media, whether it be MTV or VH1 or Netflix or whomever, where the big monies are, they control people's thinking. Okay? And my whole point in that, most kids don't remember the last 10, 15, 20 sentences that I always said, was believe it or you don't have to believe it. Just look at what's there and make a good decision. That's the point. My point was, I can convince you damn near anything. I can convince you Paul's dead.
Right, I remember that.
I can do that.
We all were, yes,
And
that was a big thing.
The kids would just go, and I loved it because it was not that hard to do, because if you do your homework and do your looking around and you find things, you can find all these marvelous little tidbits in there.
Oh, yes.
Paul is dead, and Turn Me On, Dead Man, and all the other things that are in there by playing things backwards and forwards.
I buried Paul.
I buried Paul, and all that. And they're great. They're wonderful. But could they be flim-flam? Or could they be reality?
Oh, it was, yeah.
That was always the thing that I want my students to always think. You know, you see a toy on television, and it shoots the arrows, and the parachute flies, and the kid, and then you get it home, it's a piece of crap. How many times that happened to me as a kid? Probably happened to you and you, everybody. That's the sale of media. And that was why the last 20 years of my teaching, I taught media TV production. That's what got me into that.
Now, you did another thing with the Beatles that I thought was, especially later in life, I really appreciated. You would play songs that were elevator music versions of the Beatles.
Right.
And we'd have to figure out which song it was.
That's right. Good music. And I consider the Beatles, many of them, but the Beatles, I think Elton John's another one that I really like a lot. And, Chicago. I'm trying to think of things about your time, that were out. Today, I like Karen Carpenter too. But there were a lot of the 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000. Everybody had their genre in there. Today, I'm kind of partial to things like Carrie Underwood. I like what she has to say. I liked Neil Diamond at the time because he had things to say. I like Kiss because they musically were very sound. That's why they've survived. The Who, that's why they survived. Led Zeppelin, that's why that group survived. Musically, if you sit down and go over Bohemian Rhapsody, absolutely a brilliant piece of music. Brilliant. I mean, brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. All of those guys. I mean, they had, CCR, Creedence Clearwater, Asia, musically a little sterile, but really solid. My mind just goes crazy thinking about all these groups that I really, really have enjoyed because I'm a musician. And when I hear music, like the Beatles, for instance, and then I hear other versions of them, it reminds me of how solid their craft is. And they wrote 350 plus songs.
And they were back in when I think the tradition of covering somebody to show your respect was more common than it is now.
Very common. In fact, I was in a group in 1959, 58, 59, that covered a group called the Kingston Trio and the New Christie Minstrels and Peter, Paul, and Mary and all of those guys. And our group was called the Woodsmen. And we would go into Hollywood, and you've been up in San Francisco area, North Beach. Mm-hmm. I sang in a little place called the Anxious Asp. And
you sang?
I did. I had that banjos and that case right over there.
Is that the one with the string, the one less string?
Yeah, it's a tenor banjo. It's a gold-plated banjo. And I sang and performed 2 months of the year because it was really important, as much as I could get away with, you know, and didn't make any money, but it was an experience I wanted to experience. And then I would go to the club, the Purple
Onion?
Hungry Odd, the comedian.
If you'd like to get back in touch with Mr. King, you can find him on Facebook. Just search for T. Robert King.